I'm enjoying it. I am liking this season. Although, if there is going to be a place where it goes off the rails, I think we're going to look back at this episode.
and say this is when?
I have 2,
okay,
potentially 3 places, so.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching American Horror Stories, Season 11, Episode 5.
Bad Fortune.
So there was 2 or 3 places where I felt like this might be the place where it goes off the rails. And the first one, they actually did a really good job of earning it or rounding it out in a way that I was afraid they weren't going to.
Okay.
And that was Kathy just suddenly also running a tarot shop.
Sure.
And Fran just suddenly also working at the tarot shop.
Sure.
That felt like are you sure you don't want other characters to be doing? Not that we necessarily need more
characters, yeah.
But it was a double duty that I was a little confused by. And seemingly how, considering that the season is New York City, these people are only running into the same 12 people.
Yeah. I mean, they are running in a relatively tight-knit group, so it sort of works, but it's also like, you're totally right, I get it.
Well, I said the show earned it because there was a lot of, what, you? But I thought, wait. I was like, okay, well, they acknowledged it. Because part of me was sort of like, so are we just done with Fran's first character and now she's a psychic?
No, she's clearly not a psychic.
I like that part. So we are by no means even remotely experts on tarot, but we have a beginner's understanding.
Here's the thing about the death card. It doesn't mean death.
Well, which they nailed. They said that immediately.
Okay, sure, but in the show, it absolutely means death.
Which I think, again, that's part of me saying the rounding out was because the character, like Fran and then Kathy were sort of like, well, that's not right.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what that means. And so we definitely have a question as to what is real and what is not.
Yeah.
Which is not uncommon in American Horror Story, but this season has been so grounded that it's noteworthy. I think it's safe to say that Big Daddy is just a metaphor.
Yeah. I mean, I swear to God, though, episode 10 is going to be...
We're going to unveil
it's going to be really him.
It was Barb the whole time.
Well, it can't be.
Oh, no, why? Because she's dead? Would that not make sense?
No, because he killed her.
They'd find a way.
Oh, boy. See, that's...
Although
I was fucking right about Billie Lourd. She dreamt that she was pregnant with something with tentacles.
Did you say that?
I said something last week where I was like,
So help me God.
It's gonna have the disease or something, and you were like, why would you even put that out there?
But no, I did really I liked the way they were handling the tarot because, and they didn't make a big show about it, but they did sort of take to my understanding, slightly more authentic. It's not that the person is a psychic.
Yeah.
It's not the Madame Leota. Ooh.
It's like learning how to interpret.
It's the cards.
Yeah.
It's the process. It's the ritual that's magic, not the person performing it.
Yeah. Usually. Speaking
broadly. And so this has been a fun and interesting use of Sandra Bernhard.
Very dialed back in a way that I appreciate. I
really enjoyed those scenes. I really like Charlie Carver and Billie Lourd. I like him and Theo. I can't remember Theo's name.
What's Theo? Isaac Powell.
Isaac Powell. Yeah. So the second thing with there's a question as to what's real and what's not. Both Adam and Gio have had some sort of like...
You did it again. It's Gino.
Have had some sort of like mystical experience within the tarot room.
Yeah.
That the other person, whether it's Fran or Kathy, it may or may not be a part of.
I don't think so, because they both looked concerned as well.
But I'm saying if it is an entity, if we are going to a possession place, was because Fran was like, did she say you're gonna die?
It's gonna be you.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And then Kathy's is a little bit more elaborate, in which they mostly almost brought back Frances Conroy as the Angel of Death.
Right? Oh my God, when I saw that, I was like, ooh, and then I was like...
It was her voice.
Yeah.
I was sort of like, come on, Frances. But then maybe she wasn't available, and I appreciate... There's a whole lot of Easter eggs with American Horror Story. Some are better than others, and this is one of my favorites, and I like that tie to the other seasons, that she was the Angel of Death visiting Gino, telling him to kiss her.
Yeah.
I really hope that we are, because we're halfway through officially at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of like, what do the next 5 episodes look like? Because we have a plot that we'll get to in a second with Mr. Whiteley, but we're dealing pretty blatantly with an HIV metaphor.
Yeah.
And I don't know that withstands 5 more episodes, especially.
Well, I feel like it can't. I mean, I guess it depends. If they're gonna focus on it the sort of halfway way they've been focusing on it so far, then it's whatever. But also, it seems to be striking people down like within a week. And like, to my knowledge, it is more often a kind of drawn out affair.
Both.
Well, but I mean, it's like they start showing symptoms and then like, I mean, because it was, what's her name? Barbara was like, I haven't kept anything down all week. And then she was just dead. And I'm like...
Well, she started in the first episode.
Did
you
she?
Called it. She said something about how she had summer sickness, or she said something colloquial.
Okay.
And you were like, well, she's got it too. And I was like, no. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
And
especially if he had been messing around behind her back the whole time.
I did have a casual friend. This is not an attempt to make it about me, but I had a casual friend who contracted and died within 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it can...
I guess if you are already immunocompromised too or something, but like, wow. I mean, I don't know. I think they're kind of playing a little fast and loose with it in my opinion, but I guess we'll see. Because now, I mean, like, it's literally everybody.
That's where I'm at. I'm like, quite literally everybody has this and is covered in these spots and lesions and stuff. And so I'm like, what does the next 5 episodes look like in a way that I am excited? Yeah. And the season has earned a decent amount of goodwill, but there is still that creeping American Horror Story. You're going to completely steer this into the ditch.
Yeah. I have to point this out right now because I just noticed it. The guy who is like taking over for Kathy for like some of her, first of all, her name is Kathy Pizzazz. And the guy who's like auditioning to take over for her, his name is inappropriately Kathy.
The character's name?
Yeah. Oh. Inappropriately Kathy.
One of the things that I am enjoying, it's not quite riveting character drama, but given that the horror is more subdued and is more sort of on the periphery, I do appreciate that I do kind of care about these characters.
Yeah.
I've thought pairing, like I said, Adam and Theo, and then Adam and Hannah I'm actually invested in them.
Yeah.
I'm invested in Patrick. I like Barbara. A lot of that is Leslie Grossman. Is it as simple as she just is having a hard time getting over him?
Yeah, I think it's also what did we decide? It's like 84, 83, 81. Yeah, it's also divorce is still has like a stigma. I mean, not as bad as like the 50s and 60s, but it still has a stigma. And she makes her case, and she's like, why? Just because we're not going to do all the things that couples, like married couples, normally do, why should we throw away our whole marriage? And especially because he very wants to keep her in his life. He's like, I definitely want to still be friends, but like, I want more than a sham marriage. That's like not, what we're doing. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that their relationship is sort of cute, and he fucking hit the wall when he found her dead, and he went back out and like assaulted both of the like uniformed officers.
Well, because I was gonna say that's one of the theories that's sort of percolating, is that he's the bad guy, which I don't want that. We did that in Hotel.
Yeah,
which is a problem with Ryan Murphy's Everything in the Kitchen Sink, is you get repetition.
Yeah, I just also like. They would really need to show their work if that's what we were doing.
And so she has this dog in this episode that they made a point of. They made a plot of.
Papillon.
And the dog took to him. The dog likes him. And so for me, that's sort of storytelling shorthand.
Yeah.
Like if a small animal likes a person, it's a subliminal cue that you can trust
that person's
them.
okay, yeah.
And he's still like, he has also been attacked by Big Daddy twice.
Yeah. Once in this episode.
In her apartment. And
because the lights wouldn't come on also, but then later the lights came right on. I'm like, I feel like you're doing too much. Like I'm trying to pick up on every little thing, but I feel like I'm trying too hard.
It's a little bit Final Destination 1,
okay,
where sometimes death is literally interacting with things, and sometimes every other movie it's not, but it's like in that first Final Destination in an early draft, there was a corporeal Grim Reaper.
An actual death. Okay.
And there's elements of that. So it's like the way that Big Daddy, I'm like, is he literal or a metaphor? Because the way that they're acknowledging him, like Barb was like, so is he stalking me to get to you? Like, and I'm finding that interesting in a way that I realize that right now I'm looking way too deep into it.
That's the thing is like, I can't decide if I'm looking too deep or if I'm like, am I the problem? Is it me? Am I the drama?
And then the third plot that I am enjoying at this very moment, it's the American Horror Story in American Horror Story here. And it's Mr. Whiteley, who, is he in the hospital?
I think he's a fucking candy striper all of a sudden.
I think
or like an orderly or something.
I think he might have been.
Okay.
We've seen him in the hospital. Now, granted, I know he was.
Well, and Dr. Hannah knows him.
Yeah. But and this is also with that Ryan Murphy, Everything in the Kitchen Sink, because it's like, it appears we're going a Frankenstein route, which I would love, but we already did it in Coven.
Yeah, I also, like, I can't imagine he's gonna have the wherewithal to, like, bring that thing to life. But I'm also
But don't you want that? Well, he used the word sentinel. There are implications.
Yeah. I don't know. I just am also, like, now I'm upset because we're gonna lose Gideon Glick and Hale Appleman, and he's gonna cut off one of their penises.
So I was gonna be like, just between us squirrel friends, which is which? Gideon's gotta be the penis.
You think?
Yeah.
Why? Do you think his penis is better? Okay.
That is not a dig on Hale, but I think Hale is the heart, and I think I don't.
Okay. I don't remember if he goes full frontal in teeth, so I can't remember.
It seems like it would be perfectly lovely, perfectly respectable.
I don't know. He's so tall, like real tall and skinny, though.
Those are just hunches. Well, and the Elliot of it all is Elliot in The Magicians is clouding. It's just such a did he imply there was going to be an army of Sentinels? Are we going to have more of these things?
I mean, how many people will? Because that's the other thing too that's kind of getting me is it's like we're now working with essentially two serial killers, essentially, because the Big Daddy is obviously, like, we are assuming a metaphor, but it's like striking people down consistently, but then also Mr. Whiteley. So it's like, I guess there will be enough bodies stacked up by the end of this scenario to make an army of Sentinels.
So do we think Barbara is dead? I mean, she's only been 3 episodes so far, and that's...
maybe. I mean, he found her, and she was dead, and she was like, other officers came up. She was dead.
Oh, okay.
What? I mean, I guess maybe not, but yeah, I think she's dead.
We didn't have Zachary Quinto in this episode.
No, or Janice O'Hare.
Yeah. Gino took a bath. It was kind of nice. I don't mind a little daddy.
No, he's still coming in too hot with everything. He was like, he found out.
The boo and the hiss at you and me were the only ones where everyone else is like, fight the good fight. And I'm like, yes, of course he's right. But
you catch more flies with honey because he finds out that Kathy is running this.
He's so self-righteous.
Like psychic store too. And he's like, how dare you? And she's like, I can make my money however the fuck I want.
Oh, well, okay. Also, if you're curious, piggybacking off the tarot conversation, we are open to the concept of clairvoyance, mediums, what have you. I don't think it's a slam dunk, but we're open to it. And furthermore, the ethical question, as far as we're concerned, I think depends on the practice.
I think as long as you're not doing harm.
Yeah, I think the way she was like, this is entertainment, the same that singing the songs is the same that like, and I think as long as
she also was like, just tell them good stuff, just like, blow skirt up their or blow smoke up their ass with like,
or even if you have the tarot, if it's interpreting, if it's like a puzzle, I mean that's hardly any different than a crossword puzzle or like a charade. Like you're interpreting symbols and stuff. If she's telling people to bet the farm, then of course, that's where we got a problem. But also
it was like, I guess it's 1981, so it's a little more, but it was $10. Not bad.
So okay, we're gonna watch the next one and we'll be back.